Shocking. Alex said just 7 words, and suddenly the entire conversation around her US Open campaign felt different. A 21-year-old from the Philippines, now ranked inside the world's top 20 and carrying the hopes of millions of supporters, was asked the question every rising tennis star eventually faces: how far do you expect to go? The answer could have been predictable. She could have talked about winning, reaching the quarterfinals, making another deep Grand Slam run, or proving that her rapid rise was no accident. Instead, Alex gave an answer that revealed something far more powerful about the way she sees tennis, pressure, and her own career. I don't have a specific round that I say I need to reach. 7 words. No dramatic prediction. No guarantee. No attempt to sound bigger than the moment. Just 7 words that perfectly explained why Alex has been able to handle a level of attention that would overwhelm many players her age. The tennis world has watched her rise at remarkable speed. Only a year earlier, she arrived at the US Open ranked outside the top 70, still fighting to establish herself among the sport's best. Now she returns with a completely different reputation. She has won her first WTA singles title in Washington, reached the 4th round of Wimbledon, defeated defending champion Iga Swiatek on center court, faced elite opponents, played under enormous pressure, and become the highest-ranked Southeast Asian woman in tennis history. Yet when the spotlight became brighter, Alex did not suddenly change the way she approached competition. In fact, her answer suggested the opposite. The higher she climbs, the more determined she appears to return to the basics. 1 match, 1 round, 1 point, 1 opportunity at a time. That philosophy may sound simple, but behind those words is years of work and an enormous amount of emotional growth. Alex has repeatedly explained that she does not want to become trapped by expectations. She knows what people in the Philippines want to see. She understands that every victory creates another headline, every ranking jump creates another expectation, and every major tournament invites another question about how far she can go. But she also understands something many young athletes learn only after years of pressure. The moment you allow an outside prediction to become your personal obligation, the game can become much heavier than it needs to be. Alex has chosen another route. She wants to compete as far as possible, but she refuses to attach her identity to a specific result before the tournament even begins. At her homecoming event in Manila, she explained the same idea in even greater detail, saying that her approach is match by match and round by round. Of course, the ultimate goal is to win. Every serious competitor wants that. But wanting to win and demanding a specific result from yourself are not the same thing. Alex has learned to separate the two. She can remain ambitious without allowing ambition to become fear. She can dream about winning a Grand Slam while still concentrating on the match directly in front of her. And that distinction has become one of the most important parts of her development. Think about what has changed in her world over the past 12 months. The player who once had to fight for recognition is now surrounded by cameras, microphones, sponsors, fans, journalists, and expectations. Her victories are no longer quiet achievements. They become national events. Her ranking is discussed constantly. Her opponents study her more carefully. Crowds recognize her. Young Filipino athletes look at her as an example. Millions of people celebrate her victories and feel her defeats. That kind of attention can make a player believe that every match must become a statement. Alex appears determined not to fall into that trap. She knows that tennis already provides enough pressure without creating additional pressure in her own head. After her breakthrough title run in Washington, she spoke openly about the expectations she places on herself. She described herself as highly competitive, self-demanding, and ambitious. That is an important detail because her calm public message should never be confused with a lack of desire. Alex wants to win. She wants to improve. She wants to see how far her talent and preparation can take her. The difference is that her motivation does not depend entirely on what other people demand from her. The greatest standard she is trying to meet is the standard she sets for herself. That internal motivation has become increasingly visible as her career has developed. She has also spoken about how much the past year has changed her as a person. At Cincinnati, she reflected on the experiences that have come with her rapid rise and acknowledged that none of them would have been possible without the work she had done beforehand. More importantly, she understood that the only way to continue experiencing those moments was to continue doing the work. That sounds obvious, but it is one of the hardest lessons in professional sport. Success creates comfort, attention, and temptation. Suddenly, the player who spent years chasing opportunities has people chasing her. Suddenly, there are celebrations, interviews, sponsorships, travel, social media, and endless commentary. The danger is believing that previous success can carry you into future success. Alex appears to understand that it cannot. The ranking does not hit the ball for her. The trophy does not win the next match. A previous victory does not guarantee another one. The only thing she can take forward is the preparation, discipline, and mentality that produced those results in the first place. That is why her 7-word answer matters so much. It was not simply a humble response designed to avoid making a prediction. It was evidence of a mindset she has been developing for years. Alex has had to learn how to separate her self-worth from her results. At a Nike Play Mind Games event, she discussed one of the most important things she has had to unlearn, allowing tennis results to determine how she feels about herself. That lesson is especially significant because she has been playing tennis since she was 4 years old. When a sport occupies almost your entire life, it becomes dangerously easy to believe that a win means you are worthy and a loss means you are not good enough. For a professional athlete, that emotional cycle can become exhausting. Win, celebrate. Lose, question everything. Win again, feel confident. Lose again, feel like you have failed. Alex has worked to break that cycle. She has learned that a match can end badly without defining who she is. A ranking can fall without destroying her confidence. A difficult tournament can happen without making her journey a failure. That does not mean she ignores results. It means she refuses to let results control her identity. She has also talked about another challenge that affects countless young athletes: comparison. Imagine being a teenager and constantly comparing yourself with people around you. Now place that teenager in a professional environment where every result is measured, every ranking is visible, and every opponent may be older, stronger, or more experienced. The pressure becomes enormous. Alex has admitted that learning to stop comparing herself with others was part of her development. Instead of asking whether another player is moving faster, winning more, or receiving more attention, she has increasingly focused on her own progress. That process has helped her build something even more valuable than confidence: self-respect. She has spoken about reaching a point where she feels comfortable with who she is and no longer feels the need to measure herself against someone else. That may be one of the strongest foundations an athlete can have. Because once you stop trying to become someone else, you can finally concentrate on becoming the best version of yourself. And that mentality becomes especially important during a Grand Slam. The US Open is not an ordinary tournament. The crowds are louder. The media attention is heavier. The atmosphere can change from one point to the next. A player can feel the energy of thousands of people and, at the same time, hear every negative thought inside her own head. Alex has developed a strategy for dealing with that mental noise. She focuses on what she can control. She cannot control what her opponent is thinking. She cannot control whether her opponent feels confident. She cannot control the crowd, the headlines, or what people will say after the match. But she can control the mentality she brings onto the court. She can control her preparation. She can control her effort. She can control how she responds after losing a point. She can control whether she remains committed when the match becomes uncomfortable. That is where her process-first philosophy becomes more than a motivational phrase. It becomes a practical competitive strategy. Alex has explained that when it comes to mind games, she believes the match has to feel as though it depends on her. If she allows her opponent to dictate everything mentally, she loses control before the physical battle is even finished. Instead, she tries to return her attention to herself. What is the next point? What is the next decision? What does she need to execute? That approach may sound small, but tennis is built from small decisions. A Grand Slam match can last hours, but players do not win hours at once. They win points. Points become games. Games become sets. sets become matches, and matches become tournaments. That is why Alex's 7 words carry such significance. I don't have a specific round that I say I need to reach. She is not saying she has no ambition. She is saying she understands how ambition must be managed. She wants the destination, but she knows she cannot live at the destination before she has completed the journey. Her notebook is another example of that philosophy. Before matches, Alex has described writing down her game plan and the most important reminders she wants to carry onto the court. When her mind becomes crowded, she can return to those notes and reduce everything to 1 or 2 things she can execute. That is the opposite of trying to solve an entire match in her head at once. Imagine being down a break and thinking about the scoreboard, the crowd, the ranking points, the money, the expectations of the Philippines, the opponent's reputation, the previous point, and what a loss might mean. That is too much information for anyone. Alex instead tries to reduce the problem. What can I do right now? What is the next ball? What is the next decision? What is within my control? This is how an athlete turns overwhelming pressure into manageable action. And perhaps that is why her rise has felt so different. She is not trying to become a superstar overnight. She is allowing each experience to teach her something. Wimbledon taught her what it feels like to play on center court against a defending champion. Washington taught her what it feels like to win a WTA title. Cincinnati gave her another opportunity to understand the demands of competing at the highest level. The US Open represents another test, but Alex does not need to decide the ending before the beginning. She only needs to be ready for the next challenge. That mindset also explains why outside praise does not seem to define her. Former world number 4 and US Open finalist Greg Rusedski has praised her mentality, emphasizing that talent alone is not enough at this level. The belief, intensity, and mental strength between the ears can separate players who possess similar physical abilities. Rick Matchie, the legendary coach known for working with Serena and Venus Williams, has also praised Alex's clean ball striking and ability to handle different styles. Mary Jo Fernandez has highlighted the enormous following surrounding the Filipina star. These comments matter because they show that the attention surrounding Alex is not limited to Filipino fans. People inside the tennis world are watching her development closely. Yet Alex herself continues to speak as though the next step is simply another step. That humility is not weakness. It is protection. It protects her from becoming addicted to applause. It protects her from believing that every tournament must prove something. It protects her from allowing one loss to erase everything she has accomplished. Most importantly, it allows her to keep improving. There is another powerful element behind her 7-word statement: perspective. Alex has acknowledged that the experiences of the past year have helped her develop as a person, not just as a tennis player. They have forced her to see life differently. They have taught her lessons, challenged her assumptions, and given her moments of genuine joy. That is important because professional tennis can easily become a numbers game. Rankings,